So what if the worst thing that happened to you this year wasn't actually a setback at all, but like the exact resistance you needed to survive the next decade? Welcome to today's deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
Our mission today is to explore this ancient concept called the refiner's fire. And just to set the stage for you, our notes today pull from a really wide range of texts.
Right. Yeah. We've got Christian, Buddhist, Islamic, and Mormon sources in here.
Exactly. And we want to be super clear right up front. We are not here to endorse any specific theological viewpoints.
No, definitely not. We're just impartially analyzing the psychological patterns these texts all share about suffering.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Think of adversity like a spiritual gym.
A gym, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you need the resistance of the weights to actually grow the muscle.
Right, but across all these traditions, it's almost never framed as just random bad luck.
No, it's very deliberate. It's more like forging steel. I mean, if you just heat metal, it melts, right?
Oh, it just turns to liquid.
And if you only hit it with a hammer, it shatters. It takes that exact combination of the fire and the hammer to align the molecules to make a sword.
That makes sense. And in Christendom, they talk about this literally as the refiner's fire, right?
Yeah.
Like burning away the dross or the impurities of a soul.
Right. But the shape it takes varies. Like Mormonism has this idea of opposition in all things.
Meaning you mathematically cannot comprehend the sweet without tasting the bitter.
Exactly. And if you look east, Buddhism frames hardship as just the inherent baseline of existence.
So you aren't trying to fix the hardship.
Right. The goal is to change your relationship to it. And Stoicism is similar, treating trials as the literal fuel you need to practice virtue. So across the board, adversity isn't a glitch. It's basically a pedagogical tool.
Okay, so how does this actually play out in the texts? Because our notes highlight a few ancient case studies from the Book of Mormon.
Yeah, and they're fascinating because the fire works on two different levels.
External survival and internal transformation.
Exactly. So externally, look at the story of a leader named Lehi and his family. They leave all their wealth to wander in a desert, eating raw meat.
Which just sounds completely miserable, like pure punishment.
It does, but the text actually frames it as the precise physical conditioning they needed to survive the journey to their promised land.
Wow. Okay, but what about the internal side? Because there's another story about a group Alma's people.
Oh, right. They are placed in total bondage.
And the wild part to me is that their burdens aren't miraculously lifted.
No, instead the text says they're strengthened to carry those burdens easily.
How does that even work, psychologically speaking?
Well, it's about building capacity. By leaving the weight there, the adversity forces their psychological baseline to adapt.
So they don't get a lighter load, they just get a stronger spine.
Exactly. And we see an even more extreme version of this with the third group, the anti-Nephi-Lehis.
Right, the community that made that strict vow of nonviolence.
Yeah, when they were attacked, they literally chose to face slaughter rather than break their peace covenant.
And the notes say the attackers actually end up converting, which, I mean, that sounds like a movie trope. Why would that happen in reality?
Cognitive dissonance. By completely refusing to fight back, they broke the cycle of retribution.
Oh, so the attackers didn't have the psychological shield of self-defense anymore.
Right. They were forced to confront the pure horror of what they were doing. And that kind of shock triggers a massive shift in worldview.
Okay, I get the mechanics of that, but I got to push back here.
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, eating raw meat in the desert or facing an ancient army, that is epic life or death stuff.
It is, yeah.
But what about just normal people? You know, I'm trying to navigate modern life, pay my bills, deal with toxic stress. How does ancient survival apply to you and me?
Well, the stakes change, obviously, but the psychological mechanism doesn't.
How so?
Think about Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist. He argued that if a person can find a why for their suffering, they can endure almost any how.
So anchoring the immediate pain to a larger developmental purpose.
Yes. And the notes bring up some adolescent examples to show this.
Right, like a 12-year-old boy dealing with physical and social frustration. Maybe he's like a late bloomer in his peer group.
Which feels totally mundane to us as adults.
But to him, it is existential. It's his whole world.
Exactly. And by externalizing that struggle, he's forced to decouple his core worth from immediate physical dominance.
The hammer of that frustration is like forging a growth mindset.
Right. And then you see a totally different kind of forging with a 16-year-old girl internalizing existential anxiety.
Like navigating intense social pressure or a devastating first heartbreak.
Yeah, which again feels like the end of the world, but that specific emotional resistance forces her to develop internal self-regulation.
Oh, I see. She learned she can actually survive emotional devastation.
Yes, she's building a stoic wisdom, so the next time pressure hits, she doesn't shatter.
The fire is doing its job.
Precisely. It's not a desert, but the mechanism of resistance remains exactly the same.
That is wild. So what does this all mean for you listening at home?
It's a massive shift in perspective, really.
It is. The next time you hit a wall, try to actively reframe the narrative in real time. Stop asking, why is this happening to me?
And start asking, how is this happening for me?
Exactly.
And I'll leave you with this final thought to ponder. If deep psychological and spiritual growth strictly requires the resistance of adversity.
Like literally needing the heat and the hammer to make the steel.
Right. If you strictly need that, are the most comfortable, problem-free periods of our lives actually the most dangerous to our personal development?